Death to the IDF. Death to the IDF. Death to the IDF. Death to the IDF. Death to the IDF.
What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Good Faith Show. I'm your host, Andre Morton, and I'm in a different location this time. I'm in the Georgia. I'm about to say I'm in the ATL, but I'm not in ATL. I'm like in the Metro ATL. So this is my new spot. This is my room. Um, Sorry if you see things below me. I should maybe like smooth that out. Yeah, I need to get the computer box and stuff over there out of the way and stuff like that. But hey, I just moved here a few days ago, man. I'm excited for a new life, a new adventure. Man, I love Louisiana, man, but I just had to get out, man. Like I was just small college town, Marone, Louisiana. Well, I'm not born there, but that's why I lived at after I graduated from college. I had to get out. It took a long time. Really, last year I started looking for places to move to and work because you just can't just leave and go to another place without a job. Unfortunately, because of capitalism. But yeah, I need to talk about capitalism for a minute, man. Like these people. People online, man, it's crazy. But yeah, man, new setup. I got the Palestinian flag. I bought some curtains. Hope y'all like the curtains, and stuff like that. I kind of like this setup, man. It looks better than that paneling I had in the other house I was in or the apartment I was in. So finally, I got some regular walls. Maybe I do need like the paint in here. Um, yeah, Yeah, I need to do a few things in here, but yeah, man, I'll tweak it up a little bit. So yeah, I'm in Georgia. So all right, guys. Y'all know what it is. It's the Good Faith Show. We're on the ATP network. I have some shameless plugs for you guys. Um, like the video if you're watching this, on YouTube and Rumble. Like it. It pushes it out in the algorithm. Y'all do like the video. People watch our stuff, so we appreciate that, man. And also follow the ATP Network Twitter account. The handle is at ATP Network 247, and shop the official ATP Network store. And buy our merch. Handle for that is atpnetwork.myshopify.com. And also too, I have two um, campaign links for you to share now. The first one is gothamfunds.com. Y'all know what Gotham Funds is. It's been around since last year. Just find a Palestinian account to share or donate. Do what you got to do. And also too, we got another one. It's called RadioWatermelon.com. Shout out to Lacey. I seen her tweet about this actually Tuesday night. So that's when I saw it. So I'm gonna share my screen real quick with you guys. Um, and show y'all what the website looks like. I think I got two links open. Damn, that's weird. Um, but yeah, let me share it with y'all. So this is the website. This is the homepage. This is where you can look on here on top of the tabs why verify tools, forms, resources about us. You know, let's find out about them. Just for transparency reasons. It's a short little video. Yeah, short little video. So
Empowering Palestinians, the Radio Watermelon Initiative. Discover how Radio Watermelon is uplifting Palestinian voices and providing them with the support they deserve. Radio Watermelon is a grassroots initiative founded by friends dedicated to uplifting Palestinians. What began as informal X spaces for sharing stories has evolved into a structured program to meet growing needs. Key features of Radio Watermelon include verification of individuals to build trust, not just fundraisers. Secure communication via quick video calls on Discord. Amplification of verified campaigns and promotion of Palestinian accounts. Provision of resources like infographics and teaching spaces in Arabic and French. Our X spaces occur 3 times a week, allowing Palestinians to connect directly with donors. This direct communication fosters authenticity and trust. Join us in supporting dignity and truth. Follow Radio Watermelon. Amplify Palestinian voices. Help ensure they are seen, heard, and funded. Thank you for watching this video. Together, we can uplift and support Palestinian communities.
okay, so that's who they are. I'm glad they did that. Instead of you having to read who they are, hey, just make a PowerPoint based like video. So yeah. On the website, this is the homepage right here. If you want to go to the verified accounts, just click on where it says verified accounts. You go here and then you scroll down. You can just click on somebody and just click on all monther right here, and then this is they GoFundMe right here, the link right here. And also too, one thing that's cool about Radio Watermelon, it also has their their X username and their X link. So or the Instagram username, because they don't, Palestinians on Instagram too as well. So that's dope. And then you can read the bio, right here. Then yeah, the username, and it's verified by Radio Watermelon. So see, that's one thing that I'm going a little rant. Um, there's no excuse for all of us that's got Instagram or got Twitter to not help these Palestinians out, man. It's no excuse. Look, I understand. Look, I get it. A lot of people have, questions about, these campaigns and stuff like that, and you don't want your money to go to, I hate to use this S word, but a scam. I get it. Nobody wants to get scammed or ripped off. I get that. And then you look at the situation, you question that. So, like, we got resources. GossipFunds.com, RadioWatermelon.com. No excuse, especially these big accounts, man. Like, my little Twitter account, man. Like, if I can amplify Palestinian mutual aid and campaigns for the longest time, then I know these bigger accounts can too, man. Like, we need to step up and do better, man. Like, we gotta do better, man, as a left, people talk crap about it. And I wouldn't say they talk crap about these campaigns. I guess they just skeptical. Like, it's resources out there, man. It's resources out there. Um, so RadioWatermelon.com, shout out to Lacey for promoting it on Twitter for me to see it and do this, because um, people need to see this. So yeah, that's RadioWatermelon.com, man. Go on there, go on GossipFunds.com, and also to the links to both of those Palestinian campaign fundraiser campaign sites will be in the description box below this video. So again, no excuse, man. Like no excuse. No excuse at all. There's no excuse. Um so yeah, man, this ain't gonna be a long live stream, because yesterday I was supposed to do this live stream, but my internet took a shit on itself, so that was that. And then I was already aggravated about, trying to help out a friend with, stuff. So yeah, it's just a lot on my plate right now. But I'm still here. I'm trying to continue to do this. The network must go on. So yeah, man. And also too, y'all, I got another show with Hina Lotus called Anti Empire Bites. That's coming soon. Trust the process. We gotta get the scheduling and stuff down. Like, we know the premise of the show. Basically, we'll be talking about. She gonna talk about foreign, geopolitics, and I'm gonna talk about domestic politics. And I think that's good. I think that's good for both of us, because I need to learn more about geopolitics. Maybe I'll show her something that she probably didn't know that's happening domestically. So, it's good for both of us. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, man. What I want to talk about today. Breonna Taylor. Um, Breonna Taylor deserved better, man. The ex-police officer got, oh God, almost 3 years in prison. Jesus Christ. Then we're gonna talk about Epstein and Maxwell. God, that. And then we're gonna talk about Christian Smalls. Good news is he's gonna be free tomorrow. August the 1st. Tomorrow will be August the 1st. So, but I'm gonna talk about, the outrage about it. Like, it was kind of like an outrage, like people just like numb to it. I don't know why, but got a opinion piece about that from Coming Dreams. And then, oh boy, TikTok. Like, I just knew something was up with TikTok. As soon as TikTok came back on the market, came back on the mainstream, like, I just knew something was off. And, I have evidence to back that up too as well. So, again, if you made it this far, I know I just started, but like the video. It's free. It don't cost you nothing. And again, the ATP network, we appreciate everybody that watches our content, no matter what platform we watch it on. I know, it's a whole lot more channels out here that do the same thing we do, but you choose to watch us, and we grateful for that. We don't take no views for granted. Either one view, 5 views, or even 100 views. It don't matter. If my goal is, if I can um teach one person, I wouldn't say radicalize. I'm not a radicalizer. I'm not Roman or Fenian, nobody like that. But if I can, like, teach somebody something new, maybe they didn't know something about how the system works, that'd be good enough. So yeah, so all right, y'all, let's get to it. All right, guys. So the first story I want to talk about is from the new Arab. It says TikTok hires former Israeli soldier. I shit you not. Like, yeah, this is no clickbait, guys. This is real. There we go. To lead hate speech policy. Oh boy. Yeah, this is a problem, you know, especially if you talk about what's happening in Gaza a whole lot on your platform. A lot of people talk about that all the time. Like, yeah, this is kind of scary. So I'm finna read. I ain't gonna read all of it because shout out to Blakely. They got you know he got videos diving deep down into this, but yeah, it says TikTok has appointed Erica Mendel, a former Israeli military instructor, to oversee its online hate speech policy. Jesus Christ. Um, and it's not going to even be named TikTok. They changed it to M2, which is suspect. Like, why would you change the name? But I digress. Um, uh, it says TikTok has appointed Erica Mendel, self-described proud American Jew and former Israeli soldier, as his new public policy manager overseeing hate speech. Wow. According to her LinkedIn profile, Mendel started the role in July of 2025. So she already been here. Her responsibilities include shaping TikTok's policy on hate speech, monitoring content, managing long-term strategy, and acting as platform subject matter expert on anti-Semitism. See, this right here, man, this is what's happening. See, when TikTok got bought back, you know, from the dead, because, the reason why TikTok was voted by our government to be taken down is because of you got, you know, especially Gen Z mostly and millennials, you know, showing images of, women and children getting unalived and, stuff like that. Yeah, if you know, you know. I don't want to get into the gruesome stuff about it. And then you got people talking about Israel being an apartheid state, and stuff like that. Like people just educating the masses on what in the hell is going on. And, so basically, they basically calling anybody that says stop harming women and children anti-Semitic. So, I'm pretty sure, our government's bought by AIPAC and the Israel lobby in general. So I'm pretty sure they pushed them to make this, get rid of TikTok bill, even though they claim that, it's because China. If you remember the TikTok bill, like, a lot of people say it's not ban TikTok, it's to sell it off. Well, you still kind of banning it, because it's not meeting the criteria of what the demands are. Like, it's kind of like me, like, you got to ban what, loud music, and the compromise is what, you gotta have it on low, something like that. That's a bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying. Like that's what's happening. That's what happened there. And then TikTok was going for like 11 or 12 hours, and then all of a sudden Donald Trump signed an executive order, to bring it back. And ever since then, things have happened. But let me continue. It says the job description notes that Mendel will analyze hate speech trends, focus on anti-Semitic content, and represent TikTok's speech positions on internal and external forums. Translation. Let me just translate that for you. Basically, anything that criticizes Israel will be censored or taken down. That's basically what they're saying. And anyway, like when I talk about Gaza on my TikTok account, my views is low compared to when I'm talking about, the WNBA or some other miscellaneous thing. So, like, but this could be worse. It says before joining TikTok, Mendel worked from 2022 to 2025 as a contractor for the U.S. State Department during the Biden administration, supporting Deborah Lipstadt, the special envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism. So basically, this woman comes from under the Biden regime, of course. Like we know that Joe Biden is a Zionist scumbag himself, and it makes sense. She previously spent 2 years as assistant director of program development at the American Jewish Committee. Oh boy, where she helped lead policy delegations to Israel, political, media, religious, civic, and academic figures. Of course. Um, in a 2023 ACJ video, Mendel said she raised a traditional conservative Jewish household and then took a 10-month gap year in Israel after high school. Oh God! Then she said, during my first month at a university, a BDS motion was brought, and I dedicated myself wholeheartedly to combating it. She said, "That's crazy, man. Like, BDS. Speaking of BDS, like, you know, BDS is like the most nonviolent, peaceful type of protest towards Israel. But to these Zionist scumbags, oh BDS, oh it's so bad. It's hurting the pockets of the Israeli Jews, man. You can't do that, man. Like Jesus Christ, man. These people are deeply unserious. Let me see. Uh, let me see. Let me read a little more. I think that's it. That's all I'm gonna read. It's just talking about her history, which is nothing. So yeah. So that's that. So Linda Mendel, will basically destroy TikTok as we speak. But shout out to Blakely. I got a couple of videos. For this is the first video, and like she breaks it down deeply here. So here's Blakely on the new hire by TikTok.
Attention to this. I need you to be engaged. This is insane. This is lunacy, and I need every single person's eyes who lands on this video to watch it, share it, and comment what you think that we can collectively come together to do to make sure that our voices are heard by TikTok on.
Yeah, you know what? One thing we can do, go back to Red Note, but I understand why a lot of people got Red Note and they weren't really feeling it, especially by LGBTQ people, because it turns out that Red Note isn't, particularly, China is, they're not pro LGBTQ, so and Red Note is based in China, so yeah, I kind of understand. Like, yeah, if I'm LGBTQ, I don't think Red Note is my taste, but yeah, like Red Note, I still got Red Note. Shit, like hell, man. Like if I can't talk about what's going on in Gaza, going on with the Palestinian people, man. Like, what's the point of me being on TikTok, bro? Like, look, like really, I wasn't really feeling TikTok at first like that. Like, my homeboy put me onto it back in 2020, 2021. I want like TikTok really, like, to me, I'm an old school guy, man. Like I kind of like, YouTube and like stuff like that, the video content. But TikTok, before it become compromised now, it really, it really taught me a lot of stuff and stuff like that. So yeah, but I'm gonna let her continue to cook.
On this. Don't just put a random emoji in the comment. I want your participation. I want a sentence, friends, on what we can do about this, because this is unacceptable. TikTok has hired an ex-IOF officer to be their hate speech manager. TikTok has hired an ex-IOF instructor named Erica Mindell to develop and drive the company's position on hate speech with a focus on combating anti-Semitism.
Again, like she said it later in the video, like TikTok got its own hate speech guidelines. so basically what she gonna do is, on top of what already TikTok has in terms of hate speech, she's going to add more, saying like, oh, you can't criticize Israel. If you criticize Israel, it's hate speech, I wonder if that woman is behind the time where like somebody put Free Palestine in the comments of some video on TikTok, and when they did, it TikTok flagged it as hate speech. I wouldn't be surprised if Erica Mendel already was in TikTok before. It was last year, no, earlier this year. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. But let me continue.
Let me translate that for you. They want to censor any criticism of the Israeli regime. This is not about anti-Semitism.
Yep.
TikTok already has rules around hate speech when it comes to people's identity, their religion, race. And as we all know, it's already the most censored app. So to create a new role,
yeah, TikTok is hella censored, man. Like, it's people, like, I don't know. Like, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. Like, I can cuss a lot. And I cuss a lot on TikTok a couple of times. And I'll tell you, man, like, for some reason they did not take my videos down. Maybe I wasn't using hate speech rhetoric, but a lot of people don't do nearly half of what I do, and their videos get taken down. and then their accounts get suspended. So yeah, like I didn't really do how extreme TikTok was until she said that. Like, yeah, just think about it. Yeah, man, yeah. TikTok is like basically by adding this Zionist scumbag Erica Mandel to that platform to basically censor any pro-Palestine content. Basically, that too. Just go make it unusable. Go make it unusable. Especially if you do news-generated content like a lot of people do, talking about Palestine and Israel and stuff.
Specifically to combat anti-Semitism by somebody who used to be an IOF officer is simply to attack the speech and the views of people who are critical of Israel. And if you don't believe me, just wait till I tell you the organization that helped create this role. It's important to mention that there's a video circulating online right now of this woman bragging about opposing BDS. You think someone that is bragging about how
That's why I just showed y'all. That's why I showed y'all that article before I showed y'all this video. Like, yeah, she's saying, well, when I saw the BDS movement, I had to fight it. I went to this university and it was, again, like BDS, like Jesus Christ, man. These people are such snowflakes, man.
They wanted to suppress people's freedom to boycott is going to be fair in arbitrating speech on TikTok. Reportedly, this position was created under pressure from the ADL. The ADL, which openly supports Israel's apartheid, they regularly advocate against the free speech rights of Americans to criticize Israel. They conflate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism while engaging in harassment of Arab streamers. The ADL has already been ousted as a racist Islam.
Yep, the ADL, man. Yeah. Shout out to Nick Cruz. He talked about the ADL a couple of weeks ago too on his channel, Nick at Night on RBN. Y'all go check out RBN, man. But yeah, the ADL, man. ADL just another Zionist scumbag organization. The curb hate speech. Oh God, saying that you shouldn't kill innocent women and children. And ain't the same ADL that try to mess with Miss Rachel. Yes, that's the same people too. Let's not forget about that. Like, yeah. So yeah, it makes sense. So basically, the ADL pressured TikTok to bring this woman on to basically curb the censorship, curb the content about criticizing Israel. Joy.
Homophobic, anti-Arab, anti-Palestinian organization. They've been attacking Wikipedia because Wikipedia said they're not a credible source. And
Wikipedia itself is not a credible source. That's crazy. Like, because when I was in school about Wikipedia, my teacher said, don't use Wikipedia. No, you go get a 0. Like, because Wikipedia is one of the platforms where, like, anybody can, like, insert articles and stuff like that. Usually Wikipedia has like a sources tab where like if you look up somebody, it'll tell you where they got this source from and whatnot. But still teachers, like I guess a lot of college professors said, they like you write essay, they didn't want you to use that as a source. Understandably so. Like Wikipedia isn't reliable, but when Wikipedia tells you that the ADL is not credible for shit, like you know these motherfuckers ain't shit. You know it. If you know, man.
They're not. Jonathan Greenblatt, who's the head of the ADL, has not only been working with the Trump administration, he praised the Trump administration for kidnapping and assaulting the free speech rights of Arab students. The ADL is an extremist organization. Like, I really can't press that enough. Jonathan Greenblatt, again, the head, compared keffiyehs to Nazi swastikas. A racist and vicious assault on the culture.
That's just pure ignorance, man. That is ignorance beyond the scale. Keffiyeh is part of the Palestinian culture. Like you see somebody wear keffiyeh, it's just to reflect their culture. Like Palestinians are very intelligent people. Like it's a tradition. Culture is tradition. That's what culture is. Like. He said, that's funny. It's swastikas, man. Keffiyeh is racist. Oh, it's racist. But ADL has more influence than, oh my God. No wonder people see the bullshit.
culture and the identity of Palestinians. Working with the ADL at this point is like saying openly that you don't care about Muslims and Arab safety. And you're really telling me that you're going to hire somebody that is not only
Hell, you could say the ADL is a damn near terrorist organization.
going to censor any anti-Zionist views, was an IOF officer, but are working with organizations that hold racist and bigoted views against Muslims, Arabs, and Palestinians.
All right, y'all. So that's part one. Part two coming up in a sec. I should have had it already queued up. Sorry, y'all. I need to be more organized. Here we go.
Believe that this is going to be about anti-hate speech? This is outrageous. Why they needed a totally separate role is already ridiculous. Are we now going to get a separate role for anti-blackness? Are we going to get a special hate speech czar for the Palestinians? Since Palestinians and Muslims are getting a lot of hate speech thrown their way. This is not acceptable.
That's crazy, man. When it comes to like Jews and Israelis, like in a lot of ways, it's like, you know, they always need special treatment for everything. I noticed that like you say something that hurts a Jew's feelings, is like, you know, oh God, man, like Lordy, no. You hurt my feelings. Like, you can't even, like, even on Twitter, man, like I said, Jews need to be basically held accountable like everybody else. And Jews, like some Jewish people came on my mentions smearing me. Like they go, like, I just don't get it. Like damn, man, like y'all, man, they talk about black people. They said black folks are the ones that always bitch and moan and whine, you know, whenever some racial shit happens to us. So we gotta just take it. You know, we just gotta take it. Don't say anything. But soon as these assholes, these Zionist Jews, let's just talk about them. I ain't talking about all Jews. See, somebody gonna try to, you know, take my words and twist them around. I'm not talking about all Jews. I'm talking about the Zionist Jews in particular. You know, yeah, we need somebody to curb the somebody talking about, you know, Palestinians, you know, talking about, you know, what Israel is doing to the Palestinians, you know. Oh God, like it's not funny, man. It's sad. Like, one thing I really hate about this too, is that a lot of people channels, TikTok accounts actually grew because of this, you know, not because for the clout. I don't think, you know, people talk about this for the clout. You talk about this to inform the masses. You know, like a lot of people's accounts is going to get hurt by this because we know what's going to happen. Like, I mean, it ain't no question about it. Like they're going to anything with Gaza in it or anything talking about Palestinian liberation, or, you know, it's going to be censored. It's going to be throttled. Like even on YouTube, I noticed. Facebook, I noticed. Like you talk about Gaza, you know, like they, you know, I'm pretty sure the ADL is infiltrated in those platforms. So it's like, you know, how we get here, man? How we let the ADL, in particular, that organization, that Nazi ran organization, like how we let them have an influence over our fucking media? Like it's just insane at this point. It's insane, bro. It's insane. It's so insane. Jesus Christ, man.
Acceptable. This is not acceptable, and everybody needs to speak out against it. I'm not only telling you to share this video, to comment on this video with ideas of how we can come together to tell TikTok that this is unacceptable and not in line with their own stated values, how this will be used to censor people's criticism of a foreign government, selective enforcement of ideologies like Zionism, but how these kinds of things often get used to bully, marginalize, and direct hate speech at Palestinians, Arabs, and Muslims. And we cannot accept that and not allow that to happen on here. We cannot accept that and not allow that to happen on here. It is one thing to not be able to do anything about Randy Fine spewing Islamophobia and racism in the halls of...
See, yeah, Randy Fine. See, that's fine on Twitter. You know, Randy Fine, the guy that look like that dude on the fish on SpongeBob, real wide. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, y'all seen that fish with the eyes, you know, stacked like this. Man, I wish I pull a picture of what Randy Fine look like. Like, he could say Palestinians deserve to be unalived, then they don't have a right to live. But I say free Palestine on TikTok, and I say Israel don't have a right to exist, and I get my channel taken down by this by this by this pro-Zionist scumbag, Erica Hindell. See what I'm saying? Like, same with blackness. Like, I could go far and say, like, all of the racist shit I see online every day about black people. Like, I could say, you know what, we need a black person, come in and, censor those people for using the N-word or using, stereotypes that, that probably rub some of us the wrong way. But you don't see black folks doing that. But somehow, some way, when it comes to Israel, they fifis are fucking hurt, despite Israel starving Palestinians right now, like mad starvation campaign they're running, like part of the cleansing program that they're running. Like, yeah. So yeah.
Congress because he's an elected official. But TikTok is a private company. They don't have to do this. And who are TikTok's constituents, if you will? Us. We have to tell them that this is not okay. Not only do we know that this will result in mass censorship and unfair attacks, even more so than this app already does on anti-Zionist voices.
And also, too, go further, most likely you're going to see pro-Israeli shit. Obviously. Like more Randy Fines on there. Like, you don't see, it's out, they on there, but you, like, because there's so much pro-Palestine content on TikTok, well, it was, I don't really see it much of it no more either. But at that time, like 2024, really, when it really kicked off, so we're going to see more, homophobia, not homophobia, more Islamic hate, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you always see homophobia everywhere. I mean, that ain't nothing new. But yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about, So, yeah, this is a fucked up situation, man.
Voices and people who are critical of Israel. But this is going to result in more abuse of Arabs and Muslims and Palestinians. Having hate speech policies for anti-Semitism, which TikTok already does, should not come at the cost of Arab and Palestinian and Muslim safety. And if TikTok is going to claim to be a place that actually wants to protect people from hate speech, that needs to include Palestinians, Muslims, and Arabs too. Let me know in the comments what you guys think we should do. Should we create a petition?
So yeah, man, that's it right there. Shout out to Blakely again. Good videos, man. Like, very good breakdown. So yeah. My thing is this, yeah. Like, hate speech towards, I know a lot of people don't like censorship. I don't like censorship. Basically what TikTok is doing by adding this evil, vile person to the platform to the throttle channels like counts like mine and other people that talk about the Palestinian struggle. Yeah, they're gonna get, like, we know what's gonna happen, man. We know what's gonna happen. Like, so basically, because the pendulum has shifted towards, Israel being an apartheid state, like, it's a slow pendulum, but we moving more and more, like more and more people coming out saying that, what Israel doing is wrong and it's a genocide. Like, we knew what Israel doing was a genocide from day one, bro. Like the far left, we've been on top of this shit. But shout out to other people that are not catching up, man. So basically, the TikTok, man, like, y'all, I mean, first of all, y'all already changing the name of your app to M2. Then before that, when somebody said Free Palestine, you labeled that as hate speech, which, how is Free Palestine hate speech? But somebody said, Mel Andre, maybe the slogan from the river to the sea, Palestine, we like, again, that's not hate speech. Like, remember when Elon said if you said that on Twitter, he'll get suspended? You remember that? Yeah. If you're on Twitter, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah. So, oh boy. So yeah. So the demise of TikTok might be over. It might be over, man. Um, like my thing is, she said, what things we can do. Well, I mean, if you want to go back on Red Note, go on Red Note. I mean, Red Note, it's a cool app, man. Shout out to the Chinese for allowing Americans on there. Like, see, the Chinese don't hate American people. They don't hate us. They hate our government because our government do stupid shit. Somebody said that Red Note like it when you shit on our government, criticize our government. They like that. So I say go on Red Note, man. I mean, in terms of being on Facebook, like, it really ain't gonna do no good either. Cause I know what comrades say when they talk about Gaza on Instagram and Facebook, the views is really lower compared to when they talk about something else. So that's not really a good source. YouTube, I don't trust you. YouTube is inconsistent. Let's just keep it 100. So yeah, man. Like, I mean, like, yeah, like maybe if people speak out on it. I mean, I don't know the answer. If people speak out on it, maybe they can. Maybe I don't know. We shall see, man. We shall see. Um, oh boy, this is not a good move by TikTok at all, man. It's not a good move. So, all right, guys, on to the next story. All right, guys. So yeah, man. This right here, man, is a fucking joke. It's a total joke. Um, you know, like the criminal and justice system always show its ass. I mean, this ain't nothing new. To be honest with you, man, I'm shocked that Derek Chauvin got the sentencing he got. I really am. Like, it's bad. It had to take a mass movement for the justice system to do some half-ass. Like so. So yeah, this is from the New York Times. It said judge sentences ex-officer in Breonna Taylor raid to nearly 3 years in prison. Wow, 3 fucking years. Yep, that ain't no typo, guys. Not 10, not 20, not 25, not to life. 3 fucking years. And it really is 2 years and 9 months. I don't know why the motherfucking judge could have gave the motherfucker 3 years. Like, he could have rounded it up. I mean, still shit, but goddamn, 2 years. Not even 3 years, but nearly 3 years. So, let me read some of this. And I got a video on this as well. It says, the sentence was a sharp rebuke to the Trump administration, which had requested he only served 1 day behind bars. So basically, the Trump administration intervened in this in a way, basically saying like, he shouldn't be prosecuted. But shit like Joe Biden, man, like Donald Trump don't give a shit about you either, bro. Like, this is another reason why too that I'm post duopoly, because either one of these parties don't give a shit about you, bro. Donald Trump don't give a shit about you. Joe Biden don't give a shit about you. Like, they damn near want the guy free. So let me read it. This is his stupid ass right here. Right here. His name is Brett Hankinson. A pig, a typical pig. So let me read this. It says a federal judge in Kentucky on Monday. Well, really, shit, it was 10 days ago. Damn. I'm late on this story. I don't know how I missed out on this story. My bad, guys. Sentenced a former Louisville police officer involved in the fatal raid of Breonna Taylor's home to nearly 3 years in prison in a sharp rebuke to the Trump administration, which had requested he only serve 1 day behind bars. But still, it's not enough time, though. It's still not enough. In November, a federal jury in Kentucky convicted the former officer Brett Hankinson, one count of violating Ms. Taylor's civil rights by using excessive force and discharging several shots through her window during a botched drug raid in 2020. Which, again, like, why in the fuck do we have no knock warrants? Why is that even a thing? Like, it's so scary living in America, man. Like, living in America is scary, bro. Like, like I could be at home, I ain't got no girlfriend at the moment, but me and a partner, we could be at home, going to sleep, watching Netflix, chilling. And all of a sudden, we see lights and sirens and shit, and Then we see some pigs in tactical gear bust our door down. Just like they did to those people in North Carolina. Damn, I forgot that couple. Like they did the same thing to them. No knock warrant. Just thought about it now. Bust our door down. You know, like God forbid it. Like, of course you're gonna react when somebody busts your door down. Her boyfriend had a gun next to their bed. Like a fucking course you're gonna react. You know, like you sleep. The dude, like they was sleep. You know, she was asleep, he was asleep. Like you don't have time to process what the hell is going on at the moment. So if I move some kind of way, they might shoot me and my partner or something. Oh Jesus Christ, man! This militarized police state is evil, bro. Even though none of the 10 shots he fired hit Miss Taylor, Mr. Hankinson, who is white, wow, like was the only officer to be charged for his actions during the botch operation. So basically, they didn't charge the other pigs that, you know, that caused mayhem. They only charged him, and that's by design. You know, that's Breonna Taylor right there, man. Like this woman should be still living, man. She should be still with us, man. She shouldn't be, you know, remembered, you know, as the past. She should be here in the present right now with us, man. It's so fucked up, man. You know, it's fucked up, bro. It depresses me every day. It says the killing of Miss Taylor, 26, in her own home became a focal point. Wow, she ain't that much older than me at that time. Became a focal point for the national outrage over police violence against black people amid the spate of familiar acts of violence around the same time. Most notably, the murder of George Floyd by a police officer in Minneapolis. It's crazy how name who killed George Floyd. Miss Taylor's killing, in particular, brought attention to no knock warrants, which allow police to burst into homes without warning. That's scary, because again, they could get your address wrong. You know, like for example, my address could be 578, and you know, and they supposed to have a no knock warrant for 579, and they go into 578 and kill me. So yeah, obviously no knock warrants need to be abolished. There's no if and or buts about that. The lingering bitterness surrounding Miss Taylor's death and a renewed sense of injustice incited by the Trump administration extraordinary lenient sentencing requests spill over into protests outside the federal courthouse in Louisville in hours before the sentencing on Monday last week. Hermit K. Dillon, the assistant attorney for civil rights, asked the judge in the case, Rebecca Grandy Jennings, to sentence Mr. Hankinson a single day in prison. Essentially, the brief time he had served when he was charged in 3 years of supervised release. So basically, give him a slap on the wrist. Just yeah, hey, you know, one day, you know, and then we can watch him, you know, and then he could go back and terrorize more black communities, you know, probably not in Louisville, but in other parts of the country. Yeah, why not? The request was intended to send a message that the department planned to abandon its long-standing efforts to address racial disparities in policing and to reiterate the Civil Rights Division to pursue President Trump's culture war agenda at the expense of his founding mission of confronting race-based discrimination. Jesus Christ. I can't believe I just read that. So basically, you know, since this is a racial issue, a white man, you know, contribute to the death of Breonna Taylor, the Trump administration saying, you know, oh, that's DEI, you know, you know, that's DEI, you know, just one day in jail, you know, for symbolism reason, then he can go back and terrorize. Fuck that shit. Judge Jennings, who Trump appointed to the U.S. District Court for the Western District in Kentucky in his first term, took the issue with the department's extraordinary sentencing request, but she also settled on 33 months, a punishment far short of the maximum sentence of life in prison allowable by law. Sentencing requests are typically filled by career prosecutors who worked on the case. The filing last week was signed by Mrs. Dilling, a political appointee who is a veteran Republican Party activist with close ties to Mr. Trump and one of her deputies. Shortly after the department made its public request, the family's legal team issued a statement describing Miss Taylor's mother, Tamika Palmer, as heartbroken and angry. So yeah, I'm gonna end it right there. I'm not gonna read all that rest of that. But yeah, so I got a video too. Let me make sure it's pulled up. Yeah, it's pulled up. Let me share my screen real quick, man. Like Jesus Christ. Uh, so yeah, man. Um, we ain't gonna give him 1 day because that's really gonna spark outrage. But yeah, let's give him 2 years and 9 months. Jesus Christ. So let me play this right quick.
The extended case of Breonna Taylor. The former Louisville police officer was sentenced to 33 months in prison for violating Breonna Taylor's rights during a raid in which she was shot and killed after President Trump's DOJ asked for the judge to imprison him for a single day. Let's take you out to some of these comments. Ben Taylor on the ground, or Benjamin Crump, I should say, excuse me, on the ground there. Let's listen into this live.
Prison for her daughter's death. And even though it's not what we wanted, we thought that he should have gotten more time. We are grateful to Kristen Clark, Merrick Garland, and the Department of Justice who had the courage for the first time in the history to bring federal charges against a police officer for killing a black woman in America. And so we are grateful that he is at least going to prison, and have to thank for those 3 years about Breonna Taylor and that her life mattered. At this time, Attorney Lanita Baker, who is a great lawyer,
But yeah, 3 years is better than 1 day, obviously, right? But again, it's 3 years is a slap on the wrist. You know how quick 3 years is, bro. Like for example, when the pandemic started in 2020, bro, time went faster. Like we already halfway to the 2020s. Like maybe because so much shit happens every day. I guess it moves with time, but like 3 years, man. Like nah, bro. But let me let him continue.
Here in Louisville, Kentucky, who have fought the fight with Tamika and the family. And Lanita, you know this family, you know this community. And thanks to you, they've been able to go this far. Y'all, a great round of applause for Attorney Lanita Baker.
Today's definitely not what we wanted, but we will take 33 months in prison, followed by the 3 years of supervised release. A DOJ prosecutor, what'd y'all say his name? Rob Keenan. We don't know his name really because he hasn't been in touch with us. He sent a text message at 10 o'clock p.m. last Wednesday. And when I told him he needed to contact Tamika Palmer, he said, oh, I'll just do it in the morning. And he didn't do that in the morning. Instead, in the morning, we got a copy of the sentencing memorandum from a member of the media. That's the prosecutor that filed that motion for 1 day. That's the prosecutor that came in here today and argued harder for Brett Hankinson to be released than he advocated for the victim of this case, Breonna Taylor. We're not fighting still for a conviction. We have the conviction. The jury found Brett Hankinson violating Breonna's civil rights.
That part.
We were here today for a just sentence. And while 33 months in prison is not enough, it's more than they were asking for. And we do.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Like, she admitted it. Like, hey, that ain't shit. But again, it's like, I understand this is a criminal justice system, man. You're not going to get shit from this system. Like, this system is intent to, to give, cops the slap on the wrist. Cops can, unalive, unarmed black people and get away with it. Herd immunity. That's why herd immunity exists, for that particular reason and other reasons too. And and to pad charges on innocent black folks. Like for example, somebody has a dime bag of drugs on them, instead of giving them community service, let's give them 5 years in prison. Then, if they have it again or have more, let's give them 20 years in prison. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I wasn't born like this. I wasn't born in a cabbage patch. I understand. A lot of people probably saying like, hey, this is a little win. It could be better. But I learned, man, especially the way my political ideology has changed over the years, man. Like, why go for the whole pie when you could get the whole pie? You know what I mean? That's why I titled the live stream Breonna Taylor deserves better. Like so we just go to settle for 3 years. Oh, 3 years is fine. Hey, it's better. It's better than it's better than one day and 3 years of supervised attended, whatever the fuck I read. So yeah, let's get back to it. I'm gonna play a few more minutes of this, then I'm gonna move on. Y'all get the point.
We commend the judge for taking the time to listen, to push back, and to express her disappointment within the Department of Justice, because she did do that. And she all but said they violated their oath of office as prosecutors. And as a former prosecutor, they did that. And at one point, it got so bad of them arguing for Brett Hankinson that I probably was going to get held in contempt. So I took Tamika out because she didn't need to listen to that man anymore. And so being gave accolades to Merrick Garland and Kristen Clark, I would be remiss if I...
And I see a mama right there, right beside her. She pointed to her, but yeah, I mean, this is no victory, man. This is no victory. It's something, but it's not nothing to hash out about, man. I think those other cops, officers that stormed into their apartment and killed Breonna Taylor, I think they should suffer consequences too. And I believe that they use this as an outlier to tone the rhetoric down too. I'm pretty sure people have been still protesting and stuff too for the last 5 years. So they right doing this hey, let's tone down the rhetoric. So let's use this Brett guy as a scapegoat, and basically, let's give him a day, but the judge, she her niceness, we give 3 years, jeez. But maybe
I did not say and give a shout out to Mike Songer, who we wish could have been here today arguing and advocating for Breonna Taylor and for the officers to truly be held to justice. Mike Songer and Anna Godfried, the prosecutors who tried this case with dignity, with respect, who listened to this family, who gave it to the jury, and who got those convictions. I would be remiss if I did not give them their shout out and say that we really wish you all were here today fighting for us. And just know that this is one fight. We still have 2 other officers that this community has to demand that this Department of Justice continues to prosecute. Cal Meany and Joshua James, we cannot forget about them. And they are charged with Breonna's murder. You heard the judge say today that Brett Hankinson wasn't being sentenced for her murder, but Joshua James and Cal Meany are. And so this community, this family, Breonna.
So yeah, so actually 2 more officers are going to be basically trial for her murder. So Breonna's murder. So I don't expect nothing to happen from that. The Kentucky DA that ran for governor, he didn't prosecute, and he was a black man. So I don't expect nothing to come from that. But maybe I'm gonna keep an eye on this. Like I usually do, man. Again, man, there's no victory. Breonna Taylor deserves better, man. Breonna Taylor should still be with us, man. Her along with George Floyd and everybody, Philando Castile. Man, it's just so many people, man. It's hard to keep account. That's just how many people have been taken away from this earth because the militarized police state. You know what I mean? So, yeah. All right, guys, on to the next story. All right, guys. So next story I want to talk about is actually, good news. But before I get to the good news, This is an article I came across yesterday because I posted the stream yesterday. But what happened is that I had internet issues. So, man, that'd be bad if, you supposed to do a big live stream and your internet craps out on you. Like, oh, America and our internet woes, I tell you. We're so behind in technology, man. Like, Japan and China has 2 teraflops per second of internet speed and terabytes per second of internet speed, and we got what 1 gigabit, which still ain't shit. But but yeah, let me continue, man. It ain't about the internet. But anyway, Christian Smalls. This is an article, opinion piece from Coming Dreams. It says, "Was the outrage over labor leader Chris Smalls' violent arrest by the IDF?" It said, despite Smalls having been profiled by every major media outlet in the U.S. when he was successfully led the union driver Amazon, not a single major media outlet has covered his violent detention by the IDF 3 days ago. I mean, yeah, like, that's why they didn't cover it. I mean, like, yeah, like, a lot of these media outlets, when he was doing the Amazon union organizing at that time, like, they would stun him, and they stun him now. Like, they gotta understand, man. Like, Chris Smalls is obviously he's pro-Palestine, and that's another part too. So let me read this. I'm not gonna read the whole thing because I gotta get to the good news. This is from July 29th. So this is 2 days ago. It says, on Saturday, the Israeli Defense Forces boarded the Handala ship associated with the Flotilla Freedom Coalition that was attempting to reach Gaza with supplies for starving Palestinians. The IDF detained 21 activists who led their hands held up in graphic images that were captured by the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. Among those ships was Chris Smalls, who gained fame when he led a successful union drive at Amazon in Staten Island in 2022. Former U.S. President Joe Biden even invited Smalls to meet with him at the White House to strategize on union organizing in 2022. Let me continue. It says, on Monday, details emerged that not only was Smalls detained, but he was physically beaten by the IDF, and he was the only black member of the Freedom Flotilla on the Handala. So, I mean, like, the reason why they beat him up is obviously, number one, he's black. And we know the Zionists are some racist ass motherfuckers. Well, we know that. Why they didn't, I'm just questioning, like, he was the outlier of the rest of them. I'm pretty sure they startled the hell out of the other people too. Like, you ain't gotta you ain't gotta physically beat people to mess them up. Like Greta Thunberg, like, they mess with her. Like, you could tell, look, when she came back to Sweden, you could tell, like, the look on her face, she looked distraught. Like, yeah, like, like, mental ambiguity is just as bad as physical abuse. But anyway, it says the Freedom Flotilla Coalition confirmed upon arrival in Israeli custody, human rights defender Christian Smalls was physically assaulted by 7 uniformed individuals. It says, wrote the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. It said they choked him, kicked him in the legs, leaving visible signs of violence on his neck and back. Still, despite Smalls being profiled by every major media outlet in the U.S. when he successfully led the union drive Amazon, and again, the reason I did that because Amazon run ads on their platforms. Not a single major media outlet has covered his violent detention by the IDF 3 years ago. I mean, of course they're not. It says in 2022, the New York Times ran a style section profile on his fashion choices among other than a dozen pieces that they ran on his organizing efforts, but the paper has not said anything about the detention and beating of a high-profile labor activist at the hands of the IDF. Only 3 smaller left-leaning outlets, Citeo, The Grill, and Jezebel, covered it. Of course, more independent media. That's why I say independent media is important. Like, if you go to CNN and NBC to get real news, like, that shit ain't news, bro. It's propaganda. Like, 99% of it's propaganda. It says, totally makes sense, wrote New York University of New Brunswick professor Nathan on Blue Sky, a notable public figure in the U.S. Chris Smalls is legally arrested by Israel and subjected to severe physical violence while on a hunger strike. Yeah, and also too, he was on a hunger strike too, and not one U.S. media outlet or any type decided that is news. Of course not. Some union leaders have already begun to speak out about his detention. As a union, we were demanding immediate release of Chris Smalls and all captured activists, said the 29,000 member California Faculty Association statement late Monday. We further call for immediate end to engineer famine and deliberate starving of the people in Gaza, label complicity with genocide and all U.S. military aid to Israel. Other unions are expected to announce the beating and detention of Smalls by the IDF. However, his international union leader, Teamsters Union Sean O'Brien, stayed silent on the detention of Smalls, who founded the Amazon Labor Union, which is now affiliated of the Teamsters. That's crazy. Like, he worked with Chris Smalls, this guy, Sean O'Brien, but he's dead silent. Like, what they always say, man, silence is complicity. Yep, got that right. But I'm not surprised. I'm pretty sure he's been told by the higher ups to be quiet about it. Instead, the Teamsters president, Sean O'Brien, took to social media to advise his upcoming interview with fascist commentator Vivek Ramaswamy and his 3 million right-wing followers. Being on with Vivek Ramaswamy, the guy that says that, capitalism is the reason why we live. That's more important than Christian Smalls, who is a hero in my eyes, that sacrificed his body, sacrificed himself for the greater good of Palestinians. Like, yeah. I mean, of course, what's more clickbaity, Vivek Ramaswamy on your podcast or whatever, or talking about a guy that you work with, Christian Smalls. Of course, right? So yeah, that's that. That's a short thing by Coming Dreams. But anyway, man, like, about that article, not surprising. Corporate media, man, like, they talking about the starvation in Gaza because they kind of have to at this point. Like I said, the pendulum has swung profusely. Like before, if this were happening last year, they would not say a damn word about it. But yeah, like Christian Smalls alienated, their biggest sponsor, Amazon, because again, I don't watch corporate media no more, but when I did, I always see an Amazon commercial, running between, ad breaks of these corporate media. So that kind of don't make sense. Like, hey, don't talk about him, because, because he want, Amazon workers to fucking live and, have an easier life. Oh, no, we can't talk about that. But let's get to the lighter side of news. Y'all remember that back in the day, the lighter side of news? Man, so this is some good news right here. This is great news, actually. It says, Chris Smalls released from Israeli custody. This is wonderful news. It says on Thursday morning, this morning, the Freedom Flotilla Coalition announced that Amazon Labor Union founder Chris Smalls has been released from Israeli prison. According to the group, Smalls is currently on his way to the Island Bay Bridge border crossing between the West Bank and Jordan. Jordan is expected to fly to Newark. I thought they said JFK. I think he's going to JFK. I think they didn't update this. Yeah, he's going to JFK Airport. It says Labor Party USA, a organization founded by Smalls, confirmed on Instagram that they were planning a welcoming party for him at Newark Airport on Friday morning. Smalls' detention and arrest caused international outrage. On Saturday, the IDF boarded the Handala ship associated with the Freedom Flotilla Freedom Coalition that was attempting to reach Gaza with supplies for starving Palestinians. Yep. Then it said on Monday, details emerged that not only was Smalls detained, he was physically beaten by the IDF. He was the only black member of the Freedom Flotilla on the Handala. And this said the same thing Common Dream said, like nobody in corporate media talked about it. Um, so yeah, that's good. That's good news, man. Um, um, so yeah, that's good news, man. So yeah, man. So tomorrow morning, if you in New York area, um, they said he's gonna be. Damn, I should have bookmarked that post I saw on social media this morning. Like he gonna arrive at JFK. I think they thought he gonna be at Newark, but they said JFK. So be sure if you have time, come there and welcome him with open arms, man. Like I understand a lot of people, they question like, ever since like when Joe Biden invited Christian, then he took pictures with celebrities and all that stuff, and a lot of people question that, and stuff like that. And ain't nothing wrong with questioning stuff, man. Like, question me, you know, but but this what Christian Smiles did, you know, like this tops it all, man. That to me deters everything that people criticize. And I had Amazon organizer on, and he criticized Smiles too. Check it. It's in the RTP network, man. Hell, I don't know. It's from last year. I think October last year, November. It's one of those months. Find it yourself. He said some things. I mean, but it is what it is. Everybody got their own opinion. But Chris Smalls to me, man, he's a hero. Um, like my major respect to that man. For what he did. Like that takes a lot of courage, man. So, all right, guys, one last story, then I'm out. All right, guys. So, speaking of Epstein and Maxwell, Epstein and Max include testimony from two witnesses. Department of Justice says. Um, so basically, so yeah, so the only transcripts it says grand jury transcripts in the Justice Department is unsealed for his investigation to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and his associate Ghislaine Maxwell include testimony for only two witnesses, both law enforcement officers, according to a Justice Department memo submitted late Tuesday. The administration raises further questions about whether the Trump administration's long shot bid to unseal the confidential material will be enough to satisfy the demand for more transparency surrounding the Epstein investigation. And let me say this, like, they're gonna release everything, bro. They're gonna only release things that could possibly grant, not Trump thinking about granting immunity. Like it's for, but let me continue. It said earlier this month, investigate Epstein in New York and Florida. The public investigator conducted by the Department of Justice, FBI, to came amid fierce back for the department's on a promise to release additional materials. Florida request swiftly denied. Judge in New York asked for more specific details on why this disclosed before ruling. Late Tuesday, the DOJ submitted its response to court here the passage of time that had dulled the public's interest in these cases. Jay Clayton, the interim U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, wrote the memo disclosed the unknown information about the witnesses who were used in the grand jury. It says here is one witness, an FBI agent during the Epstein grand jury proceedings. There were two witnesses, the FBI agent from the Epstein grand jury proceedings and a detective with the NYPD was a task force officer with the Child Exploitation Human Trafficking Force, which, by the way, they wanted to get rid of that, the Trump administration. I mean, yeah, it's just a lot of red flags, um, you know, but yeah, so they throwing these two out, as pawns, in my opinion. That's the way I see it. The DOJ reiterated that victims testified at trial, but in the grand jury, their testimony was read by the investigators. Many of these victims whose accounts relating to Epstein and Maxwell that were at the trial in the jury with some also public, though factual accounts during civil litigation. It says 2019 our waiting trial has suicide again. I doubt Maxwell was convicted in 2021 and sentenced 2020 years in prison. She met with Blanche last week to answer additional questions about investigation, but it's unclear what she meant. How could impact her case. Breonna has given victims and Epstein representative to weigh in. DOJ request. He said he would decide explicitly. So a lot of people. Uh, so today I heard them Epstein sex trafficking ring wanted. There. Sorry if my internet like it's acting stupid. Going good earlier. Damn. Hey, me because when the stream come out, I'm hoping. Maybe I need to end this. I made it fake to me like let's end this. It is. I'm gonna get to the poll. I think they want Maxwell only talk because if she does, like, it might be, your favorite president or your favorite athlete. So, all right, y'all, on to the. All right, guys. So I did a poll yesterday. Basically, I asked, do you agree with a housing first model? And unfortunately, I got 30 votes, which Twitter be on that bullshit. Like, yeah, if you know, you know. And obviously, it's easy. It says 86% says yes and 13.3% said no. I mean, my thoughts on it is, I mean, this should be, to me, I guess people voting no. I guess they got a reason why. My thing is that, like, at this point, homelessness is going up rampantly. Damn, I dropped something. Homelessness is going up rampantly, and at this point, like, we have money to give to Israel. We have money to go around all over the world, for these regime change wars. But when it comes to our own people, our own working class people, we don't give a shit about them. And obviously, y'all know what Trump has imposed, basically trying to, get homeless people off the streets, basically put them in prison for they could be free labor. Like, that's really what it is. They're not saying it like that, but that's where it is, bro. I got a comment from Geo Kramer. He says, I do, but I think it should be a pathway temporarily. I don't know a time frame for folks to get in, get set and get out, or they can or if they ever would. But I think it should be the follow on goal for housing first. Housing first, a new life second. Out you go back into the world, be able to face it. So from that, he basically saying, like, you get set and then you should be able to, like, do what you got to do. Which, hey, that's a good explanation. I can't be I can't be mad at that answer. I think that's a good answer. So yeah, and also I got one more thing too. I said I was gonna end this with the poll. That's why I conducted a poll yesterday. I'm gonna start doing this every day. Hopefully now, since I'm getting traction on Twitter again, for now, they're gonna suppress me again. It's coming back. I will, like, do a poll every day. Asking people questions. So yeah. Let me get to one more thing. This right here from Squirrel. It says breaking. Rashida Tlaib calls out AOCIA and Bernie Sanders over their disgusting, depraved support for endless funding and arming the genocide, calling it defensive, a deception that have been running for nearly 2 years and it has finally been exposed. So here we go. Here's Rashida Tlaib. So this be the last story.
You know, this institution's not moving with the majority of their constituency. And it's shameful because if they poll their constituents, if you ask them, do they want another dime? They want us to continue to support the war crimes being committed in Gaza? They would tell you hell no. Because they've seen the images we all have seen of babies being starved to bone. Every day that our government continues to withhold funding from UNRWA, they are actively participating in these crimes against humanity. Every day that our government continues to again fund this genocide, they're enabling more death and destruction. We must continue to push for a complete arms embargo of all weapons to the Israeli government. 7 out of 10 Democrats support an arms embargo. So again, no matter what weapons is, I don't care if it's offensive or defensive, whatever.
Shade. That was totally shade ALC right there. I don't care, offensive or defensive. I don't give a shit. Like, don't get Israel $0. She's 100% right. I'm with Rashida Tlaib on this one. And, you know, Rashida Tlaib, after all of them, to be honest with you, of the squad, she's been the sore thumb of the bunch. You know, she been out there. Then I say Ilhan Omar. You know, she been criticized Israel from day one. So I mean, you know, like I disagree with some of their votes, like we're forced to vote, and you know, and funding to Ukraine, and you know, and shit like that. You know, at least you know, one, you know, like I say, Andre Morton called balls and strikes over here. You know, at least they've been consistent on, you know, what's going on with the Israeli apartheid regime. So, I'm almost done with this.
Whatever you call it, let's stop enabling, again, the genocide. The excuses I've heard will never justify these war crimes. It's past time that my colleagues stop making excuses and listen to the majority of Americans.
Ah, damn, son. God damn, that's an indirect shade at Sandy Cortez, man. Miss Alexander Ocasio-Cortez. Wow. And Bernie the Cuck Sanders too. Let's keep it 100. So yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, it's the truth. Like, make it like that's crazy. Like, you see what's going on right now, the starvation, and you still making excuses with the Iron Dome. Like, fuck the Iron Dome, bro. Fuck that shit. Fuck it. Like, Iran showed us that it don't do shit. Iran sliced through that motherfucker, bro. Like, you seen what they did to Tel Aviv? Like, yeah, the Iron Dome. Oh my God, bro. But all right, guys, that's the show, man. I really enjoyed this. Maybe it's good that my internet shitted on me yesterday, so I could be able to do this again. And you know, I'm more prepared today anyway. Less stressful day. So before I go, man, you know, I got shameless plugs. I always come with the shameless plugs, man. Again, on the bottom of the screen, follow the ATP Network Twitter account at ATP Network 247. We have a merch store, atpnetwork.myshopify.com. Like the video, it's free, don't cost you nothing. If you're on YouTube and Rumble, like that motherfucker. You know, man, we almost at 1,400 subscribers. Man, get us there, man. Y'all can do it. You know, by liking the video, you'll get us there quicker. GazaFunds.com, one of the 2 campaign sites that I endorse. And also to RadioWatermelon.com is more thorough. You know, it has, it has the Palestinians user handle on Twitter, has their Instagram account, TikTok account. Some of them got TikTok accounts, and it has a GoFundMe verified. So yeah, man, check all this stuff out. All the links to Gaza Funds and Radio Watermelon will be in the description below the video. And shout out to Lacey for posting about it, because I will not know about that website if she haven't posted about it. So, and again, guys, if you got any like verified sites, you know, for Palestinians, you know, I think that's the best choice if people want to help the Palestinians in any kind of way, rather than be pro bono. Because, you know, I would feel bad if, you know, somebody got scammed, because, you know, people are fucking slick out there, man. Like, I get it. I understand why people, you know, have their skepticism of it. I get it. But again, man, you know, I mean, like, to be honest with you, at this point, man, what's going on, like, you know, fuck the skepticisms, man. Like, I say this is probably the only exception in my eyes. So, all right, guys, this is Andre Morton signing out from the Good Faith Show. Have a good one. Oh, yeah, man. What I always do, man. Fuck Benjamin Netanyahu.